One of those mornings. Alright, well, afternoon now. Welcome today. Thank you very much. Let's see what we have here. Today we're going to talk about a few things. Basically, what's all this thing with the Bitcoin going on right now? And are you in Bitcoin? Do you have any Bitcoin? How many of you out there still don't have any Bitcoin? And the question is, why don't you? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me get this. No wonder I can't see the camera. I had that thing in front of my face, for goodness sakes. Okay, and you guys can see me too. How you guys are doing? So today we're going to talk about this Bitcoin thing. Just checking cameras here for our getting things straightened out here. Alrighty. Yeah, oh my. Where we got Bitcoin? Bitcoin is doing what? Right now it's broken the $9,000 level. And everybody's abuzz. Everybody's excited. They're really excited what's going on with Bitcoin. And what is it about Bitcoin? Should it be something you guys should be looking into? And then we're going to talk about that today, because it seems to be, I mean, a lot of people may be thinking, well, you know, with Bitcoin, they're going to become rich. You're going to become rich with Bitcoin. Now, some people, you know, if you had gotten into Bitcoin when it first came out, then, and obviously when it first came out, the majority of people were thinking Bitcoin, it cannot possibly do anything. And they looked at it, what's this Bitcoin thing and blockchain and all of that. And obviously, a lot of things have happened since it all began. Now we have I think it was yesterday, that JP Morgan Bank, is it the world's largest bank? Now they are accepting crypto-based businesses as clients. So they're accepting. A lot of banks did not accept it, actually closed people's accounts, business accounts, that were doing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Apparently right now, JP Morgan is accepting. So again, this new territory. We got new possibilities now, that they are now accepting Bitcoin customers. So I'm just getting my things together here. I got the chat room. So you guys want to chat, you know, I got the chat room up so you guys can make some comments or ask questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So what we're going to do today, we're going to look at what Bitcoin is. Why? What's the big deal with this Bitcoin business? And can you make $1 million? Is this a way to make some easy money? I mean, a few months ago, it was down. You could have gotten some Bitcoin with a few $1,000s. Let's see. Let's take a look at it. A few months back. Let's go and look at it in the screen here. Coin market. Let's look at coin market. Let's take a look at the screen here, so we can take a look at where Bitcoin was just a little while ago. Bitcoin, you can see here. Let's see here. A little while back, December. Let's see. It was around December 18, 2019, right? Just about, 6 months ago to the day. You had a price of 6,927 for Bitcoin. Before then, and let me just check here. What is this? This is March, even just 3 months ago. March, you could have gotten Bitcoin at 5,219. That's what I'm saying. So that was the lowest price this year. And at 2019, January, earlier that year, last year, you could have gotten Bitcoin at 5,000. So pretty much 5,000 here. Oh, yes. December 11th, though, of 2018, you could have gotten Bitcoin at 3,413. So today, the price today is up at 9,000. So you're talking about if you would have gotten in at the most opportune time in recent history, like when everybody, many more people started waking up, you could have made 3 times your money. It's important for you to see that. Obviously, the guys who really made big money were these guys here who brought it at, it came out at less than $100, so even less than that earlier than that, right? But it went up to 800, so it was floating around $100, $200, $700s here. Then it went and broke into 1,000, then 2,000, started going. Then it really shot up. If you had gotten in when it was like $200, and then gotten in, and then you could have brought, how many Bitcoins could you have brought at $200, $100 a coin? And then at December of 2017, it shot all the way up to the 19,000 each coin. So you would have brought a couple of coins. You would have been well on your way to making $1 million, right? Again, and these times when it was very low, I know that you have these millionaires. They brought, they're millionaires because of Bitcoin, but they had bought $1,000 or so of Bitcoin. They became millionaires. We're talking about teenagers. I think his name Michael Finman or some Finman. I know his last name is Finman or Feynman. In any case, he made his million in Bitcoin because he bought what no one else was looking at. Very few people were looking at, and bought at a very low price. So that's how they made millions. Now, the question is, how are you going to make millions? Because right now, the price of Bitcoin is $9,000. What is the expectation that all these Bitcoin enthusiasts have? The expectation is that it's going to make more money. The halving, I have a question, is what do I feel about the halving? The halving is simply that the miners, if you're into miner, concerns you more than anyone else. More so because all it does is reduces the amount of Bitcoin you get for mining a block. So the difficulty, in other words, the work effort, the electricity, these things cost electricity depending where you live, etc., etc. And now you only get half of what you used to get. And then, of course, what matters then is if the price keeps going up, and then but there's things that work against that. And for the regular folk who hold on to Bitcoin, what the halving means is simply that the supply is again the reason they're having it is to limit supplies. So the supply keeps getting limited. They were running down to the last 3 million or so of available mineable Bitcoin. So supposedly if nothing else changes, the supply of new Bitcoin will decrease, and that's also supposed to make the prices go up. But the question we're going to ask, though, is does that necessarily mean that prices will go up? Is that a guarantee that prices will go up? And I guess the final question that really needs to be asked is who do you think is going to pay X amount of dollars to get Bitcoin? If you look at the news, you'll see that today, right now, at the price of $9,000, we have big pockets buying Bitcoin. These big pockets are millionaires, multimillionaires. Right now, today, they are buying Bitcoin. The price is $9,000. It'll go up a little to 10, whatever. These are the guys buying Bitcoin right now, 9,000 bucks. Okay, so again, it's like what I'm trying. A lot of people bought into Bitcoin, hoping that they're going to make $1 million. You have to understand something. The majority of Bitcoin holders don't even own one Bitcoin. Okay. So, and you're expecting, they're hoping. We have people also selling their homes, and I don't even think they own the whole. They haven't paid off their home, so obviously they're just going to get profit from their home, whatever profit increase their home it has gained in value, and taking that increase because of course they have to pay their mortgage, and then they're going to use that to get, let's say the average profit they get from a house is 50,000. So that'll buy them what, 5 Bitcoin if assuming they use it all for that. Again, you got tax issues that people need to be careful with. But let's just say they buy 5 Bitcoin, and so, but again, they bought it at 10,000 practically dollars right now. What are they expecting from that for Bitcoin to do exactly? I mean, to make it worthwhile of giving up the place you live to have 5 Bitcoin. So I can understand the desperation of people, but it's interesting, especially if you already own a home, you're already into real estate. It seems kind of, to me at least, because I know real estate, I do real estate seminars, and it's kind of funny that you have already a way to make millions of dollars in something you already own. I'm talking about the homeowner now. And they're going into taking that money instead of putting it into real estate. They're going into Bitcoin. So it sparks again the question: if millionaires are buying Bitcoin right now at $9,000, $10,000, who do you think is going to be buying Bitcoin if it hits 1 million or whenever it hits 1 million? Again, and if you look for that question, the funny thing is when you look for that question on Google, you can't find anybody talking about that. I suppose at one time they were, but now the talk is about having enough Bitcoin. That means more than one Bitcoin to half $1 million to actually be able to sell it. And from the sale of how many Bitcoins you have, then becoming a millionaire. So basically, that's where the bulk of the thinking is right now. You wouldn't get that by watching a lot of these bullish YouTuber, crypto YouTubers, though, because for them, it looks like if this is going to the moon, this is going to hit $1 million. For them, it's like they still have that old song and dance of it hitting a million, which I don't have any problem for. For me, it could hit a million. All the better. It's just that my mind is always perplexed at who is waiting in the background to buy it at $1 million. This is the perplexing question. It's amazing. It's amazing that there were actually certain experts out there are actually saying that a Bitcoin can hit a million. How do you figure? If it's having difficulty right now, it's still, let's say, it's still having difficulty to get beyond 10,000. It's 9,100 as we speak. It'll be a miracle that it doesn't go below to the 8,000s right now. So who is it that is waiting wherever they are, waiting for it to hit a million to buy it from all of us, because all of us will want to. That's the other thing. Or how many Bitcoin holders are there? Let's just take a look, right? Hey, listen. Again, the point of this stream is to bring us back to reality. BTC holders. I just curious. How many BTC holders there are? Let's see. Is there anything? Uh, let's see. How many? We're doing some Google. How many BT? So right now the wallets, because again we don't know how many individuals own Bitcoin. Okay, but the wallets, we know how many wallets there are. Okay, so there are 44 million BTC wallets, and it keeps growing. All right. So again, it's like I'm trying to figure out with all these 44 million BTC, and they'll have some BTC. Let's say they have, each one of them has some BTC, some satoshis in them. When Bitcoin hits a million, wherever it is that you personally feel that is going to moon, why do you not realize that 44 million wallets would be, isn't it the smartest thing to sell when it hits a million? Wouldn't it be like, is this the time to sell? I think that if you were waiting for a good time to sell, it would be then, you figure? So then all of the sudden you have these 44 million wallets trying to sell at the same time. Okay, well, some of the smarter ones will start selling right before, you stay awake, get the coffee on. And as you see it going up there, I get when will it be? The 600s, the 700s, the 800s, the 900, sell off some more, right? Right. Because you're trying to sneak your way into selling off your stash, right? Before it hits the million, then everybody, because you're thinking that when it hits a million, people are waiting around, not only to buy it at a million, but they're waiting around to sell it at a million. So then, so that you want to beat the crowd. All right. So I'm having fun with this because 44 million wallets. And the people. I'm not saying we're, because I don't do this, but there's still people shilling $1 million Bitcoin. You understand that? It's ridiculous. For what reason? For most of the Bitcoin holders, they have less than a Bitcoin. There's quite a few that have a Bitcoin, but the majority of Bitcoin owners don't have even a full coin. They have satoshis. They have parts. So again, what's the thinking? I gave you a video. I did a video a few weeks ago, and I talked about with the stimulus check. And people, if you know what to do with one of the stimulus checks, the $1,200, you can be a millionaire by the end of this year using real estate, by the way. And yet, people are hodling BTC, your Satoshis. This other guy is selling his home. He already has real estate, and he's selling it in order to get into BTC. See, what we have is a problem. People don't think. It's just simply you're putting. Not only is BTC speculative, okay, which is fine. It has a right to be speculative, but then on top of that, then people are wholly dependent on BTC, the speculation about BTC for their financial futures when there are solid, real world options that you can do, anyone can do, to turn $1,200, not even a full BTC, $1,200. You don't have to sell the house. You just have to wait for the stimulus checks. Not even money from a job or anything. It's not even from a savings account. A stimulus check from Uncle Sam, the idiot in the White House. As a lot of people call him. I don't, of course, but who's the idiot? Who's the idiot? $1,200. That's all you need. This is the state of this world that we live in. This is what's going on. All of these 44 million wallets. And what is it that you really expect to happen? So, realistically, Bitcoin, there's a lot of talk in crypto about adoption and all these type of things. At one time Bitcoin was supposed to be something, but it became almost entirely a speculative instrument. That's it. It's speculation. It used to be that we were supposed to be purchasing, and it was a peer-to-peer purchasing type of thing, and that you were able to go and buy stuff with it and exchange. It was supposed to replace money. But even the experts even still say today that Bitcoin is definitely not there. It's not going to replace money. And what it is it's totally a speculative, and because of that, very volatile thing. So I want to look at we look for an article that is very interesting. And it says that a former Facebook executive makes the case for a $1 million Bitcoin price. So let's look at that article right now. A lot of you guys recognize this fellow here. This is an article in Forbes, April 5th, 2020, so it's recent. And we have, I don't know how to say the name, Shamath Palihapitiya. Sorry about that, brother. Founder and Chief Executive Officer of Social Capital LP listens. And so there he is, Social Capital CEO and former Facebook executive, was an early Bitcoin investor. He bought a lot of the cryptocurrency back in 2013 when the Bitcoin price was around $80 per coin. See, that's why I started the today's show with the pricing back then, $80 per coin. Okay, isn't that nice? And he claims that at one point he owned around 5% of the entire Bitcoin monetary base. In a recent discussion with Morgan Creek digital partner Anthony Pompliano, he shared his views on the current state of the global economy and government's different opinions for getting things back on track. Additionally, he explained how Bitcoin could stand the gain from the major economic crisis of the 2020s. Although he thinks Bitcoin is still too volatile for mass adoption today. I think that issue of mass adoption went out the window. I mean, how can you have mass adoption if it goes up to $1 million? I mean, a lot of these hopes are are what do you call it? They're against the grain of reason. How can you want mass adoption yet the coin be valued at $1 million? I mean, where does that fit? I mean, who's going to, something really has to, I guess you're hoping for things to totally collapse, that we only have Bitcoin to lean on. So, and that would actually have to require that gold collapse as well, that no one likes gold anymore or believes in gold. And we want a digital, we have more faith in a digital coin, which we only call it a coin for what? Because we're copying from the real thing. So here you go again. This digital thing is dependent on the concept of fiat. How do you get Bitcoin? You give fiat. You pay fiat. These people want to sell their Bitcoin when it hits $1 million for what? For other Bitcoin? No, they want cash. But the only way that you're going to get cash is if there's still cash to be had. But yet, we're waiting for mass adoption. So that there's no more cash, there's no need for cash. So, what are we doing? At the end of the day, what is happening? What are we hoping to happen? You either want fiat or you're against fiat. But if you're against fiat, then you can't be getting into Bitcoin in order for it to hit a million what? A million what? Fiat? Dollars? Oh, I think maybe Tether, right? It would have to be Tether or USDC or something like that, but not you. You cannot possibly be investing or putting money into Bitcoin to get money out of it later, because again, that is a counterproductive. It's against the philosophy of what Bitcoin is supposed to be. You want, and everybody wants that, but you gotta buy Bitcoin. You gotta buy Bitcoin. You have to buy Bitcoin. So now we supposedly at one point or other, everyone has Bitcoin. Banks, people are getting haircuts using Bitcoin, and I don't know. These guys aren't going to be getting a haircut with Bitcoin because they want to hold on to the Bitcoin because it's going to hit $1 million. So by the time you get to $1 million, there is no fiat anymore. What are you going to sell it for? Ethereum. That's the answer, though. Okay, so again, it gets a little humorous. Again, the as we're going to understand when we by the time we finish with this program today, you're going to understand that if you're waiting for the big Bitcoin payday, that's going to be a very hard wait for you. And the smarter move would be to make your million before, which you can. You have to think differently than what the usual Bitcoin or cryptocurrency communities are going to be feeding you. I mean that the hype and the bullishness, you're not thinking of realities. Okay, so that's why I'm bringing this show out, because reality It's not, if you come to me later, Bitcoin did whatever, almost a million. You come to, I made a million Bitcoin. I got my million. Bitcoin made a million. I look at you because you're dumb. You're stupid. Yeah, you made a million out of being stupid. Because in the same time amount of time that you waited for Bitcoin to get up to a million, I don't know who was the other idiot that bought it from you, but in that same amount of time, you would have made tens of millions of dollars in that time period. And you come, oh, Bitcoin became a million. I hit it. I hit it. So yeah, again, it's just ridiculous. When first asked for his thoughts on Bitcoin in the context of the currently unfolding global economic turmoil, he pointed out that I'm not mentioning his name because I just can't get through it. Probably happy. I'm not going to try that. Pointed out that the Bitcoin is not ready for prime time as it exists today. It's still a speculative instrument, and it's too speculative for it to be reliable. If you're going to make the case that it should replace fiat currency, one thing you have to look at is the volatility of the US dollar. If you can't replace it with something that's 9 sigma more volatile, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Is it the thing that I've been talking about? Who's going to abandon the dollar? Look at what happened now with the pandemic issue. The countries that didn't abandon the dollar. If anything, they're getting needing the dollar. They're depending on the United States. One of the reasons Trump is opening up the country sooner than later because other countries of the world depend on the economic engine, which is the U.S. It's not Bitcoin. The economic engine of the world is the US dollar. No matter what people say about it, it's inflationary. Now we're in a recession, all this, all of that. Nothing is going to replace human sweat equity, which is what the US dollar is. It's not gold anymore, it's not the gold standard. What the U.S. has going for it is the U.S. people, the people of the United States, the workers here. That is what is represented by the greenback, that the U.S. dollar. The Bitcoin have human sweat equity? No. All it has is speculation. There's other cryptocurrencies, by the way, the altcoins. There are certain ones that have more, what you call it, more value, qualities, characteristics in those coins than Bitcoin has. Again, the only thing now that Bitcoin that it has, and it deserves to have it because it was the first one, is the fact that it's speculative. That's it. There's no, what's the other value? Where's the value? The real value, not the speculative value, not the, what do you call that, the resistance value. Is that a value that they resist? I don't want to sell it for $8,000 because I paid $10,000 for it. But there was someone who paid $20,000 for 19,000. You saw it. Somebody paid 19,000 for it. Where's their resistance? At the end of the day, everyone, and it didn't just shoot up there. There was 19, 18,000, 17, 16, 15,000. Where are those folks? You know, 14, 13, 12,000, 11, 10,000. They can't even get 10,000 right now. Has it gone there yet? Let me see. I know the 10,000, people who got in when it was $10,000, they're waiting. Now it's 9,233. We got people who paid $10,000, $11,000. They're still waiting patiently for it to get back there. What happened to their resistance? It's the question. Because where is the value? What happened to the value from all of those people who bought Bitcoin from 19,000 down to 10,000, where is their value? What happened to the value they had? See that? And we're expecting for the Bitcoin to replace the US dollar, really? The same US dollar you use to buy your Bitcoin, are you reasoning well? And the same US dollar that you expect to get when you sell your Bitcoin? All right. So now with this, with my broker, I'm not telling you guys not to buy Bitcoin. And the second thing, I'm not giving any investment advice, by the way. There's no investment advice here. All I'm doing is entertaining you and myself. Obviously, you see me laughing. This is entertainment, okay? I'm not providing any expert opinion here other than what is being read and shared with you, and I'm just commenting on it and being humorous. So don't take my word for anything at all. Just simply, just use your own head, right? And just think about things, the reason you're doing the things you do, and the reasons you believe in things that you believe in. If the question is, can Bitcoin become $1 million? Absolutely. It can absolutely become $1 million. But I also believe that people will be earning $1 million a year. That will be a salary. It'll be a what you call a median, or a low to a high to median salary at a decent job, and Bitcoin can make that. Yeah, I believe that. That's when Bitcoin will make 1 million. Okay, reasonably, absolutely. So that's the absolute time that Bitcoin can reach 1 million. Can it reach it before then, when it's like insanely, incredibly, a wealth, what do you call that, windfall? And that's the question we're asking. Who's going to buy it? Because for it to reach that level, someone has to be out there who's willing to buy it. But we're going to get to an article that talks about that in a minute. Okay, so in his view, Bitcoin's volatility is a crutch that is holding it back from further adoption. This guy is talking sense. The volatility of Bitcoin and its lack of utility, because you can say anything you want, that you can buy things with it. That's true with any crypto coin. Any crypto coin, who if as long as there's someone who wants to trade whatever services or product that they have for that coin, they can always trade for it. After all, the Indians traded Manhattan for a few trinkets. That's always going to be factual. So that's not a that doesn't mean anything. So again, how can it be adopted further if it really doesn't have real utility in the real world? It doesn't even have real value in the real world. So the mass adoption is lunatic at this hour, at this moment still, because and unfortunately, let's talk now. We're going to talk some technical things. We're going to talk technicalities. Okay. Bitcoin has been superseded by other coins in certain technical areas. Okay. For example, speed is one of them. The speed of Bitcoin is slow compared to other cryptocurrencies out there, other blockchains. Why, if it was possible for some future invention, technology, application to be based on a blockchain, why would anyone base it on Bitcoin, and as opposed to another crypto which is faster, another blockchain represented by a crypto coin, obviously. You know, because there's technology here. It's not just coins here. People understand. We're talking about the blockchain. So again, if there's a case use for the blockchain, the respective blockchain, and there are other blockchains that are better, technologically better, faster, more robust, or what have you. Why would Bitcoin be chosen? And we already have examples, real life examples. I forget. I think it was called Color Coin. Was it? And then there's another coin. What was it? The name escapes me. It starts with an M, I believe. The name escapes me right offhand now. But there were two coins that attempted to use the Bitcoin's blockchain in order to facilitate dApps, decentralized applications, smart contracts, things like that, and place that in the Bitcoin blockchain, which would have given Bitcoin a much robust application, use studies, case use cases, and would have opened Bitcoin's blockchain up to further development, and adoption potential, right? Because if they're building things on it, they're using the BTC blockchain for other things, real things, then that is real value. That can create more value, real value, because businesses and companies and entities are using it to create products, services, to as an engine. Again, the U.S. dollar is an engine. The people of the U.S., the world, that provides the value to the dollar. So the Bitcoin needs something that provides value to its basal value. And unfortunately, those two coins. I'm going to take a quick look see here. Those two coins. Let me coins based on BTC. See if I can find it there like this. And those two coins were have not been able to continue. They were ended, and they could not continue. And again, Bitcoin, I couldn't find it like that. I was looking at these the other day. Let's just one more thing. Color coin. Let me look for color coin because I know color coin. Color coin. It's related with color coin. Colored coins, and so that was on and the Bitcoin blockchain, and of course there was another one. But in any case, they it just didn't. It's not panning out. The other coin that was also related to that also just couldn't do anything with it, and Bitcoin itself is just too slow. It's just too slow to build anything with it. The only thing really going on with Bitcoin at the time, at this moment, is its speculative aurora, or the that aura around Bitcoin. That's all it has. So is that real value? I mean, Bitcoin. What Bitcoin needs. What excited me about Bitcoin, truthfully, was the technology, the possible technologies uh, based on the blockchain technology. You see my earlier videos, I was talking about the blockchain. Blockchain is very important to the future. It still is, but the speculation with Bitcoin, either that or combined with the lack of continued development on Bitcoin, has rendered Bitcoin, I think, useless for future developmental purposes, especially in light of the fact that there are other options already out there, immensely undervalued, okay, which we're going to get to in a moment, which perform better than Bitcoin right now, and can be, and I think will be used for future blockchain technologies. And Bitcoin will be a thing of the past in terms of this is what was happening back in the day with Bitcoin and everybody doing this or that and thinking this or that. That's what Bitcoin is going to. That's what's going to happen to Bitcoin, later on. And I don't. I just. I. It's just people. 44 million wallets out there. I just, again, it's just the point that you don't have to wait for Bitcoin to make it to a million for you to become a millionaire. You need to just think smartly, think the right way. Okay, so let's see here. In his view, the day traders, go back to the screens, you can read that. I'm not making anything up. So, in his view, the day traders and speculators must be flushed out. The day traders and the speculators. Who are the speculators? You! See, this guy knows what the gig is. See, the day traders. Now, why are they day trading? The day trader is trying to make more Bitcoin. You see, he don't have enough Bitcoin to his satisfaction. So he wants to build up his Bitcoin. How he does that is by helping to create or waiting for the smaller ones, waiting for the price to get knocked down, and then buying it at a lower price. Like everyone say, buy it low, sell it high. This is part of the trading day trader type of thinking, because again, you make your profit. Again, they always say take your profits. So this is the game that's going on. It goes down. The taking of the profits later on, like when it goes high, the taking of profits is what makes it go down. The whales do this at ease because they will, buy so many, and then when it goes up, they'll pump it up because they have so many Bitcoin. They can start they're buying and selling within themselves, and they get a few more people. This is the herd mentality, and they start getting a lot of other people starting buying, sell, buying, and because they're getting it, oh, I gotta buy it. It's going up. The price is going up. I gotta buy it before it keeps going up. I gotta go because it might moon this time because all the other YouTubers are talking about mooning. We're all getting mooned here, and then they dump their BTC. Okay, get that profit. They rake in the profits, and the price goes down. And all they do then is at the bottom they go and buy it all up again. And so what they do when they buy it all up again, of course they have more profit, so they can buy more BTC. The smaller guys do this at a smaller rate. They're doing it as well. They're doing it at a smaller rate, and eventually they add another BTC or two to their inventory. That's how they keep going, and that's what they're doing. So in the meantime, it's like he says here. Look at the language he uses. The day traders and speculators must be flushed out in order for Bitcoin to get out of the ghetto of volatile assets. Because while all of this is going on, Bitcoin is suffering. Okay, it's already suffered technologically. I've already said that. There's development that I'm working on personally. I'm not using Bitcoin for it. It's simple. Bitcoin is not an option. Okay. And I know there's a lot of other developers who are using other coins. They're going to be using other coins and certain particular coins at that. So there are certain coins that are going to be used in future developments, and the technology is only now starting to really going to make big inroads. The technology that's coming up is the significant ones. Okay, this is where we're at in terms of timing. The early adopters, the early developers, they did their thing. They're doing their thing, but now this next generation developer, they're the ones that are going to really use blockchain in ways that it hasn't been utilized before. The new innovations are going to be coming to light soon. Bitcoin is already out of the picture for that. Okay, so you have to understand that that's what's going to happen. The real value then is going to go into these other coins, particular ones. I've already mentioned some of the characteristics, and I'm not here. I'm not gonna give you guys any coins or anything like that. I already mentioned what the limitations of Bitcoin were, and so it's just a matter of you looking. Well, what is better? Think about science, think about technology. You all know, you guys got computers. You guys sell your old computer to get new ones. Why? You already know the parameters. That's not going to change. It's always going to be the things that the things that you want and enjoy out of technology. Those are the things that you need to look for in where the future development is going to be heading, and which coins in the crypto world, the universe, are the ones that are more likely to be tapped by developers, which blockchains would be tapped by developers in order to for them to base those things upon. You got already some big pockets industries already creating their own blockchain and some their own blockchain like forms, structures, network. Again, you have to understand this is where we're at now. So don't stop. This technology is quick evolution. It's really a revolution. So don't think that the world is going to sit around and wait for Bitcoin to do anything. The world is moving on. So you got to understand that as well. So when you're thinking about where you need to be paying, what you need to be paying attention to, where you should be focusing on, you really need to be looking at progress, because what's going to happen, since there's so much in the universe of crypto and Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin has pretty much closed its doors to those possibilities, you have to be looking at where there is room for growth. And we're not talking financial here. We're not talking financial. Financial will follow the coin that's on the blockchain that has those qualities. So basically, that's really where people's attention should be heading towards. Outside of obviously having something here, I mean, for whatever good it's going to be. But again, if you're looking at it as a way to become a millionaire, again, there's other ways. More, you will become a millionaire. Other methods than just waiting for Bitcoin to hit. Additionally, he says here, the interests of long term holders must be maintained, and the potential for the traditional financial infrastructure to implode must appear increasingly likely. And he's saying appear. And this is really revealing, because all he says is that the traditional financial infrastructure must appear to be likely, the implosion of. So he's not saying that it will ever implode. He's just saying that people's fear that it will implode would be more likely, would make things more likely for Bitcoin to stabilize, to be less volatile, and to have at least an a mass adoption with perceived stable value, which is basically what you're looking for. In other words, Bitcoin has to become more stabilized, something more like XRP, actually. If without being funny, I don't want to make anyone laugh. But I've been calling XRP a stable coin for the past few weeks because of it's just been it's just been sitting doing nothing actually all these days. 2019, it just doesn't move. And yeah, if Bitcoin would get to be like XRP in terms of some stability, somewhat more stable. Okay, so it's going to be. This is pretty much where we're at. He's looking for stability, meaning that there's nobody going to be buying Bitcoin for $1 million. He cannot be possibly imagining someone's going to buy Bitcoin at $1 million. So if we're talking about stability, we're talking about buying and selling at a good rate and some stability, at least like stocks, that are more or less when things are good, you more or less are looking at a range of up and downs in the range. But you see with Bitcoin that it's just too erratic. It's either going up or it's going down to the ground. It does not establish a range that makes any sense. A range based on environmental factors, on economics in the world. It doesn't have that relationship at all. So again, Bitcoin has a long way to go before it becomes anything like that. I mean it's actually an argument for it to become something more like a digital currency in that sense, or a digital what do you call it, like a, it's not a stock obviously, but it can become more of a stable financial instrument, let's just put it that way. um, that's the only hope for Bitcoin at this moment. It's not going to have that because of the day traders, the weak traders, and the speculators. They don't want that. They want it to be volatile. They want this thing to be so volatile so that they can imagine that it's going to go up to $1 million. And again, the question is, who's going to buy it for $1 million? Okay, so let's see here. They says the good news for Bitcoin holders is that, according to the commentary here, the existing financial system looks much weaker than it did just a few months ago. And all it looks that way, but it isn't. So again, that's another. These you have to be careful the words. He is very careful what he's saying. He's saying that the existing financial system looks. See that word looks much weaker because he realizes that in fact it isn't. It is not weaker at all. Okay, the it is strong. It is the world is dependent on it, and there's really, I mean, look at it. The nation shut down for a few weeks. The United States shut down. It actually sent everybody money, and is still helping other countries. So that was this is a pretty big hit to an economy, and still the U.S. is not really showing cracking at all. See, yeah, they're printing money. Oh, it's because they're printing money, but guess what? They can, just like Bitcoin can make more Bitcoin, just like many other cryptocurrencies can print up more cryptocurrencies. You discovered America. Guess what? We print money. So there is, again, you can't say, people say, oh, they keep printing money, it's not worth anything. No, 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 it's paper. But remember that the paper always, when they left the gold standard, they left it for another standard. And what was that standard? It was the sweat equity of American workers, productivity, the GDP, okay? Men and women working and paying taxes. That is the economic engine that supports the dollar. And as long as the people are alive here in the US, the dollar will always have its strength, will always have its standing. Okay? So the one thing, the US had to shut down its operations, but the basis for its currency was never lost. Was never lost. The basis for its currency and for that infrastructure is still here. We're all in our homes, but we're still here. Nothing's changed. Again, what needs to happen? The only thing that can wipe out the U.S. a dollar and the economy is everyone. If 2/3 of the people of the U.S. got wiped out, meteor strike or war or whatever, and you just the U.S. doesn't have the worker base that it used to have in the population, that will cause the dollar to tumble. But anything short of that, the U.S. dollar is based on the people here, and that's what people have to understand. They're looking at the dollar as some financial entity that has nothing to do with the people. It has everything to do with it. That's the people of the United States. Every single dollar bill is every single person in the United States. That's why they say that when the country is in debt, we're putting our children into debt, right? Because you see, but that's the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that it's the American people and our future generations that are supporting all the dollars that have ever been printed up after the gold standard, after disconnected from the gold standard. Every and any dollar is tied to American people. And unless you wipe out the American people, the dollar will stand strong. Absolutely. So Bitcoin doesn't have a chance at replacing the dollar. And they also now, and even if that was possible, a lot of those American citizens are Bitcoin holders, though. So hey, and those coins, hey, what it'll do is that you will have limited amount of Bitcoin, because if all the American Bitcoin holders or most of them perished, then you have limited Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin would rise. The U.S. dollar. Am I giving somebody an idea here? You better not do that. The U.S. dollar would be the weakest ever. It would not be able to stay up. We wouldn't have enough people to support the dollar, and then the Bitcoin holders that are American, 2/3 of them, more or less, whatever, also perish. So those Bitcoins will not have anyone to use those wallets. They'll be locked away. The amount of Bitcoin available to purchase will be low, and then the price will shoot up. And everybody will be going to Bitcoin because the dollar will be weak, useless at that point. And yeah, that's the scenario. So if you believe that that's possible, then and you're not an American, holding on to Bitcoin for a long time would be the smart thing to do. But if you don't think that that's possible anytime soon in your lifetime, then it's a silly notion to think that the dollar is going anywhere, that the Bitcoin is going to be anything more than what it is right now. And what right now it is speculative. That's it. You can't look at it anything else. And the valuation, again. The valuation, I look at it, it has to start hitting the 20,000 again and stay around there. History shows that from the 20,000 as a high, it pretty much down to the 10,000 is pretty much the highs that it hits now. Um, Even with sometimes it going a little higher than that. Pretty much for the time, for the short term, for the time being, you're looking at that's the neighborhood of Bitcoin. And unless something more drastic than a pandemic that shuts down all the governments of the world, nearly wipes out all the airlines, closes down businesses left and right. What else? Kills a lot of people. Not a significant amount, but yeah, well, they're all significant. But what I'm saying is not a third or two-thirds of the populations anyway. Um, you know, Anything short of that, you're not going to have the conditions needed that even this expert would agree to, the conditions needed to have Bitcoin become something that's valued and can actually get up in price, to the way people are really thinking about it. He says, we're driving slowly, but we are driving towards a cliff, he says. See this? And then we're going to drive much, much faster down that cliff or down that hill. And at the end of it is a huge brick wall. So basically, that's what's happening. What that's most probably is going to happen. Listen, this again, this is like long term here. Before this ever happens, you're going to have some good days. That's the way the speculation is going to work. You're going to have good days with Bitcoin. You got to determine more or less, or decide to use Bitcoin for X amount of profit. You have to take Bitcoin as a strategy. If you're going to look at Bitcoin, you got to figure in the short term before you drop dead, it should go up to 20,000 again, you know. If there's any sense to the fact that it happened already once, uh, it can happen again. To think anything more than that, higher than that, is again, it's like I can't even call it hopeful thinking. It is just fantasy. And in a few videos back, also not recent, but in the crypto strategies that work, I believe in that playlist of mine, that this is also going to be housed or listed. I talked about a $50,000. I'm not going up to the 100,000 or anything like that. I used the $50,000 Bitcoin as my calculations. As far as my calculation, the highest in our near futures, and I say near futures, basically my lifetime. Basically, what I figure I have left for living. 50,000 is for me reasonable, and I did say that in the next 2 years, um, that was a reasonable high speculation possibility. So that if everything goes beautifully well for Bitcoin, then within the next 2 years, anytime between now and 2 years from now, 50,000 would be like, yeah, it went up, everything worked perfectly. 50,000, yeah, it's good. That would be, oh my, great. Realistically, if things are so and so in the next 2 years, it should hit to 20,000. And And absolutely, if it doesn't, wow, if it doesn't hit the 20,000 in within the next 2 years, you're looking for a long haul deal here. Okay, this is why I keep telling my audience that you really, you could have been a millionaire. You can be a millionaire by the end of the year. It's not in Bitcoin. Okay, you need to, and if it's in Bitcoin, the only way it can be in Bitcoin is if you have a lot of Bitcoin or more Bitcoin than you own right now. And most of you don't own one Bitcoin. You have some Satoshis, whatever it is. And if you were looking to double your money, triple your money, which is basically all that Bitcoin is going to do. Listen, if it goes up to 20,000, realize that it's only doubling your money. If you have $100, for example, $100 in Bitcoin, when Bitcoin hits 20, wow, great day, Bitcoin, everybody's gonna be yay, 20,000. You only doubled your money if all you have is $100 in it now. I know there's people getting in. I know there's a lot more people getting into Bitcoin right now. And they're getting in with Bitcoin with $100, a few $100. That's what they have. It's what people have, especially now during these pandemic times. Again, what is it the best that you're looking at? You're only looking at doubling your money. Simple. There are other cryptocurrencies, mind you, where the potential that you have. Where if Bitcoin goes up to 20, there's other coins in the neighborhood that would match that and do higher and do better. Okay, that means that we're talking 4 times your money, 5, 10 times your money. Again, it's all speculation, but usually when Bitcoin goes up, the other altcoins go up with it. The question is which ones go up more, right? And again, for that, you have to do your own research. Again, you're looking for the qualities that I already discussed beforehand. Something faster, better, something that's is more developable, that developers would be doing things with, and realize there's coins that you don't know about what's developing with it. It's not known. They would appear to be coins that don't have much activity with them. But if you look at the coin, you look at their the technology that they are harmonious with, that they lend themselves to, the development that they can lend themselves to. If you have a mind for a development mind, and just simply realize that if things are bigger, faster, more capacity, stuff like that, that's usually where development is going to go. You're going to go that way. So as long as you look for things with that characteristic, you should do better in other altcoins than just putting it into Bitcoin again. Having some in Bitcoin, what would be smart is having a portfolio and having something in Bitcoin that you expect to get 2 times double your money on that, and then some things in some other coins where you can see more better returns. Right now, there's coins. Right now, if you do I'm not gonna do this for you guys because I'm not here to give you investing advice or anything like that. But these are things you can do on your own. You can look at go to CoinMarket. Let me just show you a quick thing to do. This is something everyone can do. Okay, yeah. Let's go to CoinMarket because some people say, well, what other coins? What should we do? So go to CoinMarket here and go to, um, you get into coinmarketcap.com, and then the chart comes up. Now this chart is defaulted to the market capitalization, means how much money is invested in each of these coins. So the one that has the most money invested will be the first one listed. This is considered the biggest coin, right? The more popular. So of course, Bitcoin is number one by far. But what you want to do is that you want to hit this listing item here says change 24 hours. Past 24 hours, how much percentage of a change has occurred? So we click on that, and then this will give you a list of coins that have changed the most positively within the last 24 hours. And here you see, you don't see Bitcoin here, which is one of the points that we want to get to. You see other coins listed here, and not Bitcoin. So these are the coins that you want to take a look at. And again, just don't go by number one. I'm going to tell you something. Yesterday, this coin Zilica wasn't here. This coin was nowhere near the first place. So this has happened in the last 24 hours. This is what I'm saying. So you guys can look at, and you have to be careful. And then what you want to do is look. You can press on the graphs here, and you can check each one out and actually see the consistency. What you want to look at with these coins here is consistent upswing within the last weeks. You want to compare it, and if you can, you want to compare it along the side of Bitcoin's chart. Okay, and the reason you want to do that is you want to see if the X coin did something different than Bitcoin did. And why does that matter? It matters because it means that the coin had particular interest at a time where Bitcoin didn't have the interest. So what you want to do is that you want to find out why. Why is this coin going up when Bitcoin isn't going up? You see, so you want to make those comparisons. And then obviously you want to base your decisions and your filter on what really matters. Really, what makes the altcoin a good option for you to consider, as we already discussed, like a computer. Is it bigger, faster, better, more capacity? Whatever you're looking for in a new computer, it's the same type of thinking as the technology advances. Now they got more memory. Now we got more of this, more of that. So that's what you want to think about when you look at certain coins. Is this the bigger, faster, better thing for the market that it's in? What it's supposed to be doing, what it brings to the table. So that's really basically what you want to look at. Okay, so let's. I think we're going to finish with. Let's see this. Let's see. hmm So yeah, let me get to the part where he's giving his statement about it going to $1 million. I think that's important for us to look at. He's saying, like many others, the interviewee says that or sees Bitcoin as a binary investment. And in his view, these price swings in the thousands of dollars don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Of course, he's talking about Bitcoin's validity. Again, these things do matter. The swings do matter if you're using the proper strategies outside of Bitcoin. If you're using the proper strategy for wealth creation outside of Bitcoin, then those swings do matter. You understand that? Again, the statement is solely about Bitcoin, if it's going to be or not to be. It has nothing to do, it's not speaking to the part of what you're going to do, what you're going to get out of Bitcoin. Which is what I'm the point I'm making is that you shouldn't be staying in Bitcoin and relying in Bitcoin forever. It's not the thing to do. But if you're going to use the volatility of Bitcoin goes up and take that profit and leverage it outside of Bitcoin to things that'll really make you some big money, like I said, only need a few months in real estate. If you take some of that money and put it in the right way, then you'll be making millions of dollars before Bitcoin even gets to the 20,000, before Bitcoin gets to 50. Okay, so again, it's up to you. What is it that you really are going to do? But just waiting for the particulars to occur, this is the risk that you take. He says this is either zero or it's millions. In the case where a single Bitcoin is worth 1 million or more, he sees the cryptocurrency as the basis for a quasi gold standard where the hard money is held by everyone rather than central banks. Again, he's fantasizing here. He's fantasizing here. It's going to be worth 1 million. Who's buying it at 1 million? You understand? This is the issue again. Who's buying it at 1 million? Now, of course, how long will it take? Listen to that, because this is the big thing here. How long will it take for people to trade in million dollars of Bitcoin? Because you don't have to sell the whole coin as well, right? And of course, I mean, you can make big purchases with the fiat. I don't know if people are going to let you buy the house or a yacht trading the Bitcoin. They'll probably want you to trade to turn it into cash. Again, that becomes the issue. And who's going to buy it for 1 million? Is there a bank that's going to convert that Bitcoin at that time, taking the risk because it's not stable, and turning it into cash? You can buy that. Yeah, you understand? There's problems here. There's real problems with it. But again, where the coin is stable, then the cryptocurrency can be used as a basis for a quasi gold standard. See, but those are the things that have to happen first. Where the hard money is held by everyone rather than central banks. But you're going to need the central bank in order to get the fiat or buy your yacht. He thinks that the probability of this scenario playing out in the real world has recently increased. The probability. But that means a 0.001% increase. It's still an increase in the probability, right? I love it when they say things like that because, again, um, I guess dumb folks think, oh, that's like 10%, 20%, that's like 50% now. No, it's like 0.000. It's like a Satoshi percent positive that this could happen. That's all. That's all it needs to be. If the probability was 1% that Bitcoin would be valuable, unfortunately, the probability is now probably like 5% or 10%. That's what he said. And there's a real chance that by 2030, we don't find a way to inflate our way out of this. The only way to break the back of inflation is essentially to create some quasi form of a gold standard. But it will be almost impossible to do that between governments and central banks. How about with people? How about with people, not trusting anything except the gold? Gold in the hand, gold coin. There are scenarios where gold coins in the hand would beat out anything else that you can imagine. There's a lot of questions still, and the same factors that would destabilize the U.S. dollar are the same reasons that gold is a better option. You have to understand that gold, people having gold in their hands, physical money, it would be much greater value than having something digital. And there's scenarios where the digital network can all collapse. How about then? Who has real money then? Who would have real money when everything collapses? Only those with the gold in the hand, not the digital gold. See that? It's the same thing as losing your wallet. So, what happens if you lose your wallet? You lose your keys. What do you have really? Same thing happens. If something knocks out all the electricity, if all the computers are burnt to a crisp and whatever mayhem may ensue, and that can happen in this world, everybody's basing everything on everything's hunky dory and peaceful. There's a thing called war. And some bad actors out there can wipe out a lot of things, and our technological world can end. And where would your Bitcoin be? Just a question. But, I would sure want to have a gold coin when that happens in my hands. Just saying. Okay, so again, you can have that. It's just that you're putting everything in BTC, and that's what you're putting all your eggs into BTC instead of being smart, becoming wealthy, a millionaire before BTC goes up any place. Having some gold, also you might as well get some gold on the way, and you're set. You have to start leveraging. You have to start thinking straight and being smart, not just waiting. I got money in BTC. We're waiting. You start rocking your chair, waiting every day in and out, waiting for something to happen. I mean, gee, something will happen. It's unfortunately not going to be what you're thinking. They'll never agree on an instrument, and they'll never agree on an exchange rate. But then, bottoms up, people could decide to do it with Bitcoin, and it's not really that easy. Again, this is part of that hopeful thinking and that la la land. This is not the real world, folks. You understand? And when the real world ceases to be what it is, gold will still be nice. Okay. Now, Elon Musk, like him, hate him. I mean, the guy's doing things, right? He shared his view that he doesn't think Bitcoin will become the primary database for money. See, again, either way you look at it, it just doesn't make any sense. Especially these digital currencies, because digital means electronics. It means the blockchain exists in what? In computers all over the world. But if somebody destroy the computers all over the world, then what do you have? Whatever things can happen. I don't know about the sun flare burning out the networks and all that. I don't know too much on that. I suppose it's been talked about. I haven't heard much talk about it or definite answers on that. But just suppose. Isn't it at risk? Isn't it at risk in either case? And again, whatever wars, pandemics, financial collapses, whatever have you, the internet going down, the blockchains burnt to a crisp, anything that causes that to happen will not affect the gold coin in your hands. This is the point. At the end of the day, the day before the last day of the planet Earth, the guy with the gold coin, he got the money. Period. That's it. And case closed. Okay. So that again, that's why I'm saying, that you guys need to start thinking and start doing things smartly. There's nobody, none of these Bitcoin. I mean, there's obviously big whales with thousands of Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, they're already millionaires, right? And when Bitcoin goes up to whatever, there'll be more millionaires. That's fine. But then, how many of those are there, really? The vast majority of people the fact is this, listen to this, the vast majority of BTC holders would become millionaires sooner and more times over if they did what I suggest rather than waiting for Bitcoin to go up. That's a fact. Okay, that's a fact right there. So, that, again, something to think about. Additionally, billionaire investor Ray Dalio agrees with the negative thesis around fiat currencies, but he thinks gold will be a better option for those searching for a safe haven. Hey, safe haven. Hey, guy agrees with what I'm saying. In terms of potential price movement in 2020, BitPay's Vinny Singh predicted the crypto asset will hit a new all-time high above 20,000 by the end of the year back in January. He said about the end of this year. I said it to the end of next year, really. A report from around anytime between now and 2 years. That's where I personally. So I don't limit it. This year, I think it's a little too soon. Um, I mean, it could go up. I'm not saying it won't, but to stabilize around there, I don't see it stabilizing around there. At least until it's for 2 years now. It could go up like anything else. You wake up one morning and there's a candle going all the way up. So that's definitely possible. I'm just saying that for it to stabilize around, that's what you need. I want to look at this article here for a second. We'll be finishing up with this. Bitcoin buyers are only fooling themselves again. This is an older article. This is from July 27th, 2019, Market Watch. It's an opinion article, um, but it says pretty much something that you have to think about. It's an opinion, but it's really something you have to think about. Money is the linchpin of modern economies. It says we do not need to grow our own food, make our own clothes, and build our own furniture. We can specialize in what we do well and use the money we are paid to buy what we want. Basically, that's the way it's working now. It's hardly matters what is accepted as money. Seashells, whale teeth, woodpecker scalps have all been used. The people of Yap used stones canoed in from hundreds of miles away. People have been willing to be paid in shells, scalps, and stones because they were confident that they could use them to buy things. Okay, so it's talking about the premise of money. The people are confident they have agreed to exchange, have value in this one method of exchange. That's always been the basis of money, always. And so money doesn't need to be something you can hold in your hands. Indeed, most of us choose to live in an essentially cashless society. But this is realized that this statement is only based on our realities today. Okay, that's not the reality. It wasn't the reality before, and people wanted cash in the hand. They exactly wanted something in the hand for giving you something in your hands. So it does matter. In fact, when there is nothing really around, it will matter. Our income goes directly into our bank accounts, and our bills are paid out of our bank accounts again. That's because of technology. Once again, if the technology is debilitated, then what? Bills that are not paid electronically are paid with a check, debit card, or credit card. We only need cash for paying people who won't take checks or credit cards, or for transactions we don't want the government to know about. Which brings us to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Unlike electronic money that flows through the banking system and is monitored by central banks, Bitcoin uses cryptography and decentralized control maintained by blockchains. Here is a quotation from the original paper that launched Bitcoin. We propose a peer to peer network using proof of work to record a public history of transactions that quickly becomes computationally impractical for an attacker to change if honest nodes control a majority of CPU power. Okay. So the strength of the blockchain is its very weakness. If you begin to realize what the vulnerabilities are, doesn't that sound impressively mysterious? It says part of the allure of cryptocurrencies is that a great many people worship computers while few understand blockchain. If Bitcoin was an accounting system maintained by an army of accountants with pencils and paper, it wouldn't be nearly as cool or alluring. As an investment, a Bitcoin is no better than a woodpecker scalp or a yap stone. Real investments like stocks, bonds, and why are these real investments? Because it's like the American dollar. It's backed up by somebody doing something, a human doing something, not a proof of work that the computers use, right? This is a real life person. Why does that make a difference? Because the proof of work cannot redo the job and make it right or make it better or improve on it, right? This is what stocks do. Companies or people working, creating products. There's a thing called quality controls and things of that nature to make improved products, to make things, and they're making products that do other things. So this is the idea. This is the valuation behind stocks, bonds, and apartment buildings, right? Apartment building is not about the real estate, not about the land, or it's that it's going to make money. It has utility. People want to rent it, so it's going to generate money. And it's a real value. There's an electrical storm. Generators burn out. There's no electricity. There's no food in the supermarket. Whatever goes on, that building is still there. There's rooms in it, and people can rent it. It's real life. It's real. It's and we're people. We're not robots. We are not computers. The computers may see Bitcoin as an investment, but real people. We need real people that can perform a job, that can do something, and it is not based on real people speculating. It's just a speculation of real people. Basically, what the cryptocurrency markets are of real people speculating on speculation of others. So basically, we're putting value on the speculation of others. All right. It says here, quite frankly, yeah, it says that bonds pay interest, stocks pay dividends, and apartments pay rental income. Right. Which is why real estate is your better option than Bitcoin. And here, Bitcoin generates no income whatsoever. Bitcoin by itself does not generate income. Okay? We have a program. We're building a game app, which I'm only giving to 50 people. 50. So look for my videos when I release it. Only 50 of you will be able to have the what we call the master license for that game app. Okay, and that game app is going to make Bitcoin for you. It's going to make Bitcoin. See, so that's going to generate. But again, it's not Bitcoin, right? It's something else that's generating income, and then you can get that income in Bitcoin. See, we that's smarter than you just sitting around Bitcoin doing nothing. It's Bitcoin doing nothing. But we're creating ways to make something that's going to make Bitcoin, which is really the smartest way to do Bitcoin. You're sitting around there waiting for Bitcoin to go up, when what you really should be doing is having something that's going to make Bitcoin for you. And the closest thing that anyone has to that are the mining rigs, right? But again, the cost involved, the wait time, now the halving happened, so now you're getting less of a reward. Okay, but I've developed a way for you to make Bitcoin and have it generate using the whole Bitcoin issue and generating Bitcoin income. So that's what we're doing, because that's the smartest way to do this. If you're going to do Bitcoin, then do Bitcoin in a way that you're generating Bitcoin and not just sitting hodling. Hodling And just that is just totally just, I mean, hey, listen, it's better to do that than not have anything. You don't have anything in the game. But it's not, it doesn't show any initiative at all. And you're waiting, you'll be waiting for a long time, quite possibly, for you to have a $1 million day. And our people are going to have $1 million days very sooner. I mean, you're going to have, and it repeats, so it continues. It's not just one thing. You guys are waiting for a day that you're going to find somebody else to buy it for $1 million, and after that, what? What's going to happen after that? That's it. But with what we're doing, it's going to keep generating Bitcoin, keep generating, and so you'll be making millions, and then millions, and then millions after that. That's a smarter way to do it than what most people are doing right now. 99% of the people in Bitcoin doing it the wrong way. Speculators buy Bitcoins because they think they will sell their Bitcoins a short while later for an even higher price. This is the greater fool theory, it says here. Buy at a foolish price and sell to an even bigger fool for a profit. During the tulip bulb bubble, for example, bulbs that may have fetched $20 in today's dollars in the summer of 1636 were bought by fools for 160. In January of 1637 and $2,000 a few weeks later. The prices of exotic bulbs topped $75,000. During the South Sea bubble in the 1700s, fools brought a worthless stock that they hoped to sell to other fools. One company was formed for carrying on an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody is to know what it is. That was actually what it said. The shameless promoter sold all the stock in less than 5 hours. He left England never to return. Another stock offer was for the knit vendor, or selling of nothing. Yet nitwits brought the knit vendors. Okay. So Bitcoin is a modern day knit vendor. Oh, and in a sense, a lot of the cryptocurrencies, all that. Okay. Again, the Bitcoin may have started as a knit vendor, but it has now become, to be fair and honest, it's really now become a speculative coin, right? So it's speculation. But again, how much value are you going to put in speculation? And are you really going to wait all these years, your money just tied up and in just waiting? It's something. It's really not the thing to do. In 2017, as the Bitcoin bubble picked up speed, the stock price of Long Island Iced Tea Corp increased by 500% after it changed its name to Long Blockchain Corp. At the peak of the Bitcoin bubble, a company introduced a cryptocurrency that didn't even pretend to be a viable currency. It was truthfully marketed as a digital token and had no purpose. Yet people spent hundreds of millions of dollars buying this nitwit coin. Here we go again. Last April 1st, the volume of Bitcoin trading more than quintupled to 815 million from 153 million, and its price jumped 18%. The rally was concentrated in 1 hour interval. Now, a question: the price jumped 21% between 5:30 a.m. and 6:22 a.m. and that's London time. That places it about 2 in the morning, east coast of the U.S. Are you awake, watching the prices? That's another thing. When Bitcoin hits a million or it goes up high the way you want, you're waiting for it. Will you even be awake? You got to understand that Bitcoin is being traded worldwide, 24 hours 7. Who let the fools out? The only plausible explanation was an article written as an April Fool's joke, reporting that the SEC had an emergency meeting over the weekend and voted to approve two Bitcoin based exchange traded funds, ETFs. For true fools, it hardly mattered what sparked the rally, as long as the prices were going up. Woohoo! Then when the prices go up, the videos come out, right? Hey, we're morning, it's skyrocketing. Woo, woo, woo. At some point, the supply of greater fools will dry up, And Bitcoin's second bubble will end just like the first one. So, again, this is a very critical article, but I bring it out um, not to distract or take anyone away from, uh, having some Bitcoin, but in order to bring attention to reality. Even though you're in Bitcoin, you have this idea. Also, stay with reality and realize, you must realize that there are real ways of making and becoming wealthy, making money. Like I said in my previous videos, $1,200 stimulus check. It's all you need. And in one of our programs, you look for the video. That's all you need. And $1,200, and you'll be making millions of dollars way before Bitcoin will ever do that for you. That's why I'm not worried about Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't concern me. It doesn't worry me. Everybody else is like, they're like holding on and they're selling their houses and they're doing whatever. Bitcoin, like if it's the savior of the world. And the truth is, we had millionaires before Bitcoin was ever invented. And we are going to have millionaires without Bitcoin for all the futures we have. Simply, becoming a millionaire has nothing to do with Bitcoin. And you waiting around for Bitcoin to make you a millionaire. And the bottom line is you won't know how to be a millionaire. And once Bitcoin gives you, if it ever got to the point where it gave you that million, you wouldn't know what to do to stay a millionaire. Because you're not willing to do the right things now. You're not willing to do the right things now. That's why you're not going to be a millionaire. You have to wait for Bitcoin to force it onto you. But you'll probably be asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning when it goes up to 1 million. But you'll remember my video. Do yourselves a favor. Start thinking and make good moves. Have some Bitcoin. Have Bitcoin. If you want to be one of the 50, you need a Bitcoin at least to do my Bitcoin program. You need one Bitcoin at least to put in. If you don't have that, don't worry about it, okay? But again, keep your Bitcoin. Keep some Bitcoin there. Take enough out to do. There's other altcoins that will be very smart for you. I'm not going to get into now those other technical advances. You'll see them enough in other videos out there. But there are other coins out there that are going to make you some money. Okay. And then what you want to do also is also understand real estate. There's great things that you can do in real estate. Again, I have other videos on real estate. I'm not telling you what those great things are, but I do have courses that you can take. And you will be a millionaire before Bitcoin. And all these Bitcoin holders out there, they're not beating my students to the millionaire club. Okay, my students are making it to the millionaires club way before anybody in BTC. Right now, that you're holding, trying to wait to become a millionaire. Um, my real estate students are going to beat you there. Okay, if they're not sitting around doing nothing, waiting, they're actually doing real things with real value, and they're making real money. Because at the end of the day, it's not Bitcoin that's going to make you a millionaire. It's money that's making you a millionaire. Okay? Take care and have a great day.